Hello everybody and welcome to Saturday Q&A Season 2. This is your host Frederick Jones, founder of My Footprint, the parent to digital publications Afternoon WebX, Saturday AM, and soon to be Saturday Plus. We're going to be joined tonight by two of our creators. One is an old head and one is our exciting newcomers. But before we get started, we just want to work out a couple of kinks. It's our quote-unquote Season 2. And we still have, looks like a bit of issues with some connections going on. So bear with us for just a moment. We're going to see if we can get everyone connected in, and we will begin the podcast in earnest here in just a moment. Thanks, and give us one moment. All right, everyone. So once again, we are getting set to go live here in just a moment. We are live now, trying to work out some of the kinks. This is our second season. We've got some really giant guests lined up everywhere from the world of cosplay to digital music to webcomic creators, several who are not connected to Saturday AM, and even video games. So we're really excited. Been working hard on it, and this is reflective of the growth that we're having at Saturday AM. We've got tonight two very special guests to kick off the season with, and it's very apropos because one is from our past and one is from our future. And so it's really exciting to have them both join us. Of course, we're having still difficulties because we're not, a gigantic group yet. We've been doing this thing for less than a year, and we're still trying to learn the right elements regarding Google Hangout. But we will get things moving here very shortly. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We've got a lot of people in. Two quick things just to say. Number one is that this is kind of like a Reddit AMA, so our creators are here at your disposal. You're certainly welcome to ask them any questions, including myself. You will be able to contact them in one of three ways. You can submit a question via the Q&A app functionality. So if you have Google Hangouts app on your, say, Chromebook or Google Chrome browser, you can activate the Q&A feature, and you can submit a question that way, which is really clean and really easy. You can also use the chat window. There's a group chat window that either comes from your Google Talk function that's in your Gmail, or you can do it through the app itself, and we accept those. And last but not least is Facebook. We will be engineering future hashtags that you can use via Twitter. We won't do that tonight, but we will have those up and running in the next month. So please also recognize you'll be able to do that via Twitter as well. If you're doing it via Facebook in terms of contacting us, so the question, you can do so either on our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/Saturday AM, or you can do it on our private group, which is a Saturday AM Pilot Manga submissions group. Unfortunately, that's private, so if you're not a member of that, we really won't be able to get those questions. So, again, I want to welcome those of you who've joined us tonight. We have guests being Jordan Cook, who is the creator of Rough House, a manga webcomic that we had back at the start of Afternoon WebX launches back in February of this year. And one of our newest creators, which is Leonardo Massip. He's a really exciting new voice in the world of webcomics, and we're really excited to have him as a part of Saturday AM via our pilot manga team or pilot manga contest. Big things planned for Leonardo, and we think that he's going to be a real someone that you're all going to know the name of very soon. So really welcome to have both of them on. Again, we apologize for the technical issues. We're just trying to work out just a couple of issues regarding connectivity between the two. I see some of you coming on, some of you hopping off. Again, we hope to resolve this issue in the future. Give us just a few more minutes, and then we should be able to get started in earnest, and we'll be going for a solid hour. Again, you can submit questions, and we'll be having some really great conversation with two webcomic gurus. Thanks. Give us one moment. All right, so we are back again. My name is Frederick Jones, and I am the founder of My Footprint, which is the group that can produces 3 publications, online publications. We do a weekly webcomic line called Afternoon WebX, which feature some amazing creators and some really cool webcomics, free webcomics from some creators around the world. David Yoon is one of my favorites. He's one of the founding creators. He has a comic called Spoon, which you can read about 27 chapters of that for free right now. We also have Andrew Sterling's Storybook, which is a really cool manga webcomic also. You can also check that out. It's about 30 chapters of that on Afternoon WebX. And we have the very lovely Marielle Villarreal, who does, she's from Mexico and has a really awesome webcomic called Wanted Dead or Dead. And it's kind of like Wild West meets really weird stuff. Really fun manga, 19 chapters of that, and 4 or 5 chapters of that are actually in Spanish. So if you're looking to get your fix in your native tongue, you can be able to check that out as well. And one of our guests tonight is Jordan Cook. He is one of the founders, one of the co-founding creators. When we started the line, he was one of the first creators that we contacted, and he has a really awesome webcomic called Rough House. And we're going to be talking to Jordan tonight about this amazing manga webcomic that he's developed, his inspirations, and what his hopes are now that he's returning to that manga and returning to Afternoon WebX. On the other hand, we published 2 other lines, as I indicated. Saturday Plus was going to be a brand new line which starts next Saturday, on Saturday, November 28th. So after you've 29th, I believe actually. No, yeah, 29th. So after you finish some Thanksgiving dinner, you can check out this really fun manga anthology that will feature all new creators. One of those creators is going to be Leonardo Massip, who joins us tonight. He is from Cuba, an American citizen, and he has an amazing idea for manga that we are really, really impressed with. It won runner-up in one of our competitions for future manga creators, and we're just really tickled that we're working with Leonardo. He is a mad genius in so many ways. Past that, the big thing that we publish is Saturday AM. It's the most popular work that we have. It features creators from around the world who've become quite famous in their own right, like White Manga, who produces for us Apple Black, Raymond Brown, who has a manga called Bully Eater, Wally Wynn, who produces a manga called Comatose, and the very lovely Andrea Voros, who produces Saigami. We also have other creators like Mikhail Dingle, who has Metallica Lux Nova, a very popular, very cool science fiction epic, as well as Vertical Fish, which is his pseudonym, who produces a book called TTX. And we have other manga that are coming through that as well. That manga comes out every 2 weeks. It's kind of like a weekly Shonen Jump, and we've been really, really happy with the support that we've received for it. We've currently completed our 20th issue, which we produce 20 issues every year. We never missed a week. We always appeared the week that we said we were going to appear, and for the most part, we did them on Saturdays. I'm so incredibly proud of the guys who produced that work with me, of the creators who've graced us with their artwork and their talents, and with the fans who were there from us from the very beginning. And we had quite a few people who followed us from the very beginning. It's been a heck of a ride. We've got some really big things planned for Saturday AM, including the things I just talked about with Afternoon WebX and Saturday Plus, and we hope you guys will be around for that as well. We'll be making some announcements about Saturday AM material later in this discussion, but first, let's chat with Leonardo Massip. First of all, let me just say, Jordan, are you able to? Are you there? Are you able to actually communicate with us? Okay, so we're having a bit of an issue with Jordan connecting in. So we have to see again if we can make that happen. In the meantime, Leonardo, are you able to connect? Can you unmute your mic and speak to everybody?
Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Great. So say hey to everybody, Leonardo.
What's up, people? What's up, players?
All right. So that is Leonardo, creator of Islanders, which is a really important manga. We'll talk about that shortly. And I'm going to try to get Jordan one more time, but then if we don't have Jordan on, which Jordan can communicate via text message, if we can't have him on verbally, then we will make sure we schedule him and have a time for that as well. But in the meantime, though, we'll be talking to Leonardo here very quickly. Let me just send a quick note to Jordan, and then we'll go ahead and get started. And again, if you have questions for either creator or including myself, you can do so amongst 3 different methods. If you are a follower of us on Facebook, you may go to our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/Saturday AM / and leave a message in one of the comment fields. You can also do so if you are a member of our private Facebook group called Pilot Manga Submissions Group. That one is a little trickier if you're not a member of that, so you certainly should try our Facebook group. If you have Google Chrome, and then we'll get started. Again, if you have questions for either creator or including myself, you can do so amongst 3 different methods. If you are a follower of us on Facebook, you may. I think somebody needs to mute there. Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Okay, so we got Jordan connected on. / Well, you have to probably mute your mic though, Jordan. I think we're hearing me talk. Comment fields. So if you are a member of our private Facebook. There we go. I'll mute Jordan there. So at least we got Jordan on here, and so that's the good thing. So, but again, if you've got questions, you can also use the group chat functionality. You can do that via the Q&A app on your Google Chrome, and you can use that via the Google app if you just have like regular Google Talk on your old Gmail. You can also do that there. So it's a great way to get in touch with us. And again, you can ask these guys really anything. It's kind of like a Reddit AMA there. So for a lot of future creators, certainly you can ask questions about the techniques that they use, how they got into webcomics, what are their biggest obstacles, all sorts of stuff like that. And we'll be asking similar questions ourselves. So we hope you guys enjoy it. If you're tuning in late, you'll be able to check this out via our YouTube channel, which will always have all of our videos available to watch. Whenever you are free to watch them, so you don't have to watch it live right now. So thanks again, and we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Jordan, looks like you did connect. Jordan, let me see. You can unmute your mic. Go ahead and say hi. I'm sure we need to check and see exactly what's going on with the volume there. So let's see if we can get it in there. Can you hear us, Jordan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah, I can hear you now. So it looked like there was maybe a slight delay, and I think maybe that was what caused because there was some reverb going on there. So one thing you might want to do, Jordan, is just one thing we always try to do when we do these chats is you might want to kill other apps you have open on your computer, and just leave this open. Maybe leave open your Gmail and your Facebook, so that if you do need to reach me, you can do so.
Okay.
Otherwise, though, you might want to do that and also kill your camera. That way, you keep your bandwidth as wide open as possible for the application. And so perfect. But we're glad you're here, though. Did you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah. Hello. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
Fantastic. And so so why don't we start? And what I'll do is I'll kind of bounce around guys here. So feel free to unmute your mics. And again, make sure you have your volumes turned down a little bit. Let's go ahead and get this thing kicked off in earnest. So like I said, if I said in the preamble, this is an interesting chat because this is kind of like, a little bit of our past and a little bit of our future, and of course, it's always about our future because we're constantly growing, we're constantly going into new territory for the sort of company that we are. But let's dial back for a second and just get to both of you guys. Both of you create webcomics. Jordan, you started doing webcomics before we met you, and Leonardo discovered webcomics either when he started looking at us or shortly before us. His background is not in webcomics. Why don't we just start off with a really basic question? How soon did you guys start learning to do artwork, or did you, were you drawing at a young age? Like, what was how did you guys first get into drawing? Period. And I'll start with you, Jordan.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been a long time. Like I started drawing. I distinctly remember like taking drawing seriously around the age of like 6 years old, because my brother actually had made a drawing of some character, and I was so fascinated by it. To me, it looked so good that I was like, oh my god, like my brother can draw, and like I can, and like I need to draw too. And like from that day forward, basically, I've pretty much been drawing regularly. So it started at a very young age for me, and then I of course, like my mother bought me comics and stuff like that, and I discovered comics on my own, and those inspired me, and yeah, I just fell in love with comics and sequential storytelling, and ever since the age of 6, approximately, it's something that I've pretty much wanted to do as far as like a profession, or like like something that I just want to like make a living doing. So yeah, I started really young.
Okay, and then so what about you, Leonardo? How soon did you start? Because again, for people who don't remember, you actually were born and raised in Cuba. So how soon did you start?
Yeah, I started actually like when I was like 14, 15. I started with Dragon Ball. But I really went into, I always was afraid of comics because I thought it was really hard. I was like, no, I'll suck at comics. I'll never do comics in my life. So basically, I started drawing for real, like seriously, was when I like 5 years ago. Like really putting a lot of effort on it. But I always liked it. I was, watch movies and like to reproduce whatever I saw and draw. But yeah, like not long ago, like 5 years now.
So this is an interesting. I find it really fascinating actually, because I think this. I often compare comics, particularly with a lot of our creators, with and as I'm trying to explain to them kind of the way that I structure Saturday AM, with sports. And I talk about the fact that to be a good creator, or to be a good soccer player, to be a good basketball player, to be a really dynamite one, you have to literally you have to have talent. Like you have to have a God-given talent, because you cannot get from A to Z without having any natural talent. Now your talent may not be perfect, right? You may be able to you may be able to dribble, because a lot of people can't even dribble, right? You may be able to dribble, and that may how you start. And so I find it fascinating, like in this case, I think both of you guys kind of represent the natural aspect of that, in the sense that, Jordan, you guys started very young. You said your brother kind of played a role in that. Leonardo, you guys started because you guys started just a few years ago. In terms of how you guys started, and here both of you are very accomplished in terms of what you guys do. I mean, you guys are telling stories. You're capable of perspective and all the kind of tricks of the trade you have to learn along the way. You know, the same way that if you can kick a soccer ball and you've got that natural ability to kind of kick the soccer ball, you still have to learn how to dribble past people, how to curl the ball when you kick it, how to shoot a free kick, all those various things, how to pass it the way you want to pass it. These are techniques, and you guys, have picked up the techniques. But you have that natural talent that inspired your ability to kind of grow and go down the path of this at various ages. And I think that's really fascinating for people. Well, in the case of you, Jordan, going back to you for a second. Now, you said your brother kind of helped you helped you get inspired of this. I have the same story. My brother did the same for me with old Marvel comics when I was a kid. What was the comics like? What sort of comics actually got you engaged with drawing? I mean, were you, because you're obviously from America? Was it the traditional American comics? What kind of got you into the actual comic scene?
My very first comics that I drew were very inspired by like X-Men and like Marvel comics, like superheroes. Like I don't know, like Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. Like that was like the beginning.
Okay.
But later, I discovered manga, and I discovered Japanese comics, and that just blew my mind. Like I just completely fell in love with Dragon Ball and One Piece and like I don't know, whatever, like all kinds of Japanese manga. And that is what really inspired me, because there's something about the artwork, there's something about Japanese manga that even though, and this is coming from somebody who loves all kinds of comics, there are things about manga that captivate me in ways that that other comics don't, I guess. Like I feel like American comics, although you can get great art and great storytelling, typically like each panel kind of looks like it's frozen in time. It looks like a picture or a snapshot of a particular moment in time.
Yes.
Whereas in manga, a lot of the times, there's this fluidity. Like it looks like it's moving. Like it looks like it's animated.
Yeah.
And that's what really captivated me, in particular. So after discovering Dragon Ball and One Piece, I was just like, oh my God, like this is what I want to do. I want to tell stories in this way, or at least do it my way. But I want people to know that this is what I love and this is what inspired me. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I mean that's actually really interesting, because I've often talked about that myself. That's one of the great aspects of American comics versus Japanese comics or manga. That I remember it was the '90s when I've been a fan of manga. I'm a lot older than both of you guys, but like I remember just this epiphany that I had, right? Because I think a lot of young people today are starting to see it, but I don't think they quite see it the same way. But it's like I remember this epiphany I had because I had grown up reading manga. I was an exchange student in Japan when I was 15. I grew up buying anime from before you could get anime subtitled from kids who went to Japan. And I remember just kind of the entire aspect of that initial thing you go through with anime and manga, where it just looks so different, and then the action is so much more bloodier and violent.
Right.
This is a Saturday morning cartoons, but it was during the heyday of the X-Men in the early '90s with Jim Lee, and he was adopting many manga sensibilities, right, with his use of technology and things like that. And I remember looking at panels and realizing that, wait a minute, the only thing I'm really looking at here is like Wolverine pops his claws, and it's awesome the way he does it, and jumps into battle, and then the battle's over, right? It's like there's no like fluidity to the movement, whereas in manga, like that entire sequence might be an entire chapter long, but it would be gorgeous. It would be totally follow it from piece to piece. Now, there's some manga creators who don't create art that smoothly, but still, for the most part, that it's just an entirely different design sensibility to do that. And so I couldn't agree with you more. Let me with Leonardo real quick. Leo, you got into the manga side. I mean, did you get when we talk about comics and you talk about your inspiration? You said Dragon Ball was your inspiration. So was it Dragon Ball the anime or was it Dragon Ball the manga? And at what point did you actually even begin to look at manga itself as an actual art form? Like, when did you actually start looking at manga? Because obviously, as much as anime is inspired by manga, anime functions in a different aspect than actual manga does. I think a good example was Attack on Titan, which if you look at the anime for Attack on Titan, what they fill in, the parts they exaggerate, is so much cooler than the artwork in Attack on Titan, the manga. So, which one did you actually get into first? Like, I assume it was the anime, and then how did you actually bridge into the other part if it was manga?
Okay. First off, I basically inclined myself to do more, draw more when I started watching Dragon Ball, but the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But my very first experience with Japanese culture, whatever, was with Gundam Wing from 1998, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that the first time, it was an all video cassette, with like three episodes. And when I saw that, I flipped. I was like, wow, because you all know, in Cuba we don't have that much technology and access to the internet, so watching that was a whole new world for me. So I started there, and I remember that I used this. I had this really old book, and I used to draw legs and trying to mimicking the Japanese style. And then I jumped to Dragon Ball, which is popular anywhere, and I had no idea what a manga was, like a comic itself. I had no idea how to draw manga, so that's why I started in this from the animation, because that's what I did, and that's what I had available at the moment. Then we jumped to Naruto, which was really famous too, and then I started from there. But yeah, basically my inspiration was the people surrounding me, because my best friends, none of them actually draw, and I have like 6 of them. I used to get my inspiration watching those cartoons. Then I draw for a while. Then I stop, and it was on and off until I got here and I knew all these people from the pilot group, and it was a great experience knowing people that they actually like the same stuff I like, and that's what's been keeping me drawing every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm getting better every week. Not to brag about it, but I don't know. That's how I feel.
Well, I can speak truthfully and say that I think you're getting better every week as well, and I can say truthfully that you're getting better every week is phenomenal, because you already were extremely good when we met you. When you participated in the contest, your artwork was already just amazing. So, let's stay with you for a minute, Leonardo, and let's talk a bit about your inspirations, because obviously you got into manga, and I'm still a little curious as to since you grew up in Cuba, how you got into some of these things, because again, and maybe that explains why you got into it later in life, because obviously Cuba, being a communist country, didn't have a lot of the stuff flowing through the way it did in America. But one thing I'm curious about is, as you began to absorb some of this content and began to get inspired to want to draw and so forth, at what point, like, what sort of specific works or specific ideas inspired you to want to create your work Islanders, which in many ways seemed a lot kind of like a One Piece. There's aspects of Cuba in there. Like, what were some of the inspirations that drew that out? Were you familiar with One Piece when you got started?
Well, I actually I know what one. Well, I knew the name. I knew that One Piece was in manga or anime, whatever, but I actually never saw it. Well, nowadays I haven't seen it. I only saw like 3 chapters and I was done. It's too long. Hey, definitely my inspiration was the Miyazaki stories of all his movies, because he got such an extra, like, kind of weird, good, and at the same time mysterious stories behind all his movies. And I grew up also watching the typical Spider-Man stuff, like the hero is always the good guy and he's always handsome and all that. So I tried to flip that over and try to do something different, and I I was thinking about doing it based on Cuba, because there's a lot of stuff that you can get from your culture and you can put it and use it in your comic, whether it's political stuff, social, you know, whatever, religious, all that you can modify it and put it together, and you can create something terrific, something splendid that the people have no idea what it's about, because most of the people that I know, they have no idea how Cuba looks like. So, it was really good strategy for me to try to put that in my story, fuse it with a lot of indie comic styles out there, and do something different. I mean, it might impact people saying, "What is this? I don't know this," But once they get used to it, it's gonna be interesting because it's something different. It's something new, and it's something that exists. It's something that is based on reality.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
Yeah, and I can certainly say that that's one of the things that appealed to us was that you were bringing this sort of this Cuban element to it, or perspective, let's say, and that one of the reasons I started the company in the first place was to get more diversity, both in terms of the creators as well as the ideas into the marketplace. So yeah, very much excited about your influences, and it makes sense how you kind of threaded some of those things together. Obviously, again, Cuba being an island, and you creating islanders, and just kind of the tropical nature of it. I think all those things are fresh. They appear very differently. The Jordan, with you, you made, as you said, made that transition, or recognized that transition between American comics and Japanese comics from a fundamental standpoint. Your work, what appeals to me about Roughhouse is that you kind of thread both, right?
Yeah.
So there's a very strong American superhero or Western superhero motif to it, not like, wear costumes and everything, but just the notion of kind of big, brawny people. And at the same time, the tropes and some of the flow of the story, certainly your action sequences have that taste of Japanese manga sensibilities. Walk me through your creation of Roughhouse and what led you to kind of put these different aspects together.
Yeah, so I mean, it comes from, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like, it comes from a love for both mediums, like both. I like all kinds of comics. Like, I guess if I had to pick one as my favorite, it would be manga. But as far as being inspired by art and like, reading stories that I loved and that captivated me, and like falling in love with characters and stuff like that. That goes across the board, like American comics, not just American comics, but European comics, and obviously the Asian comics. But so I want, basically all these things are being channeled through me. Like, I'm being inspired by all these different types of art, and it's being like, if I'm some kind of like art machine, it's coming out of me, in this way. So yeah, like it's basically just a result of me loving all different kinds of comics. So yeah, like I love, like I said, X-Men was one of the first comics that I thought that I like, really liked and that inspired me. Roughhouse, in a lot of ways, it's like X-Men. You have a group of essentially superheroes. Like, they're not like mutants or anything, but they're basically like superpowered people who follow an elderly leader. They have like a home base.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot like X-Men in that regard.
Yeah, I was waiting to see the X-Men part, but yeah, I guess that's right. The an elderly guy. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then there's obviously I One Piece is one of my favorite mangas in the world, one of my favorite stories in the world, and the art itself really influenced me. And when I grew up reading One Piece, because One Piece has been around for a long time now, and I was reading it, around the time it started, so it's been with me for a really long time. So you can totally tell. Like, there's no, like, if you read my story, chances are, if you're familiar with One Piece, you'll be like, okay, this guy likes One Piece, because like you can just tell by the way like I draw, like, I don't know, maybe the eyes or the mouths, or you can see the inspiration there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, all that to say that it's basically a result of me being inspired by all kinds of different types of art, and this is what happens basically when all this stuff is in my brain, or like, you know, comes to my mind, and I put pen to paper or pencil to paper, that this is what happens. It's a mixture of inspiration. It's a mixture of things that I love.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how that happened.
So, I love the fact that One Piece is so discussed on our show tonight.
It's great. I just love One Piece.
It's interesting because I'm actually not a big One Piece fan, and Leonardo's work is truly, you know, has a One Piece vibe to it. But let's stay with you for a moment, and just real briefly, if you can, tell everybody essentially what Rough House is about, because we have several chapters of Rough House on the site, about 5, I think, or 5 in the beginning of 6. Tell people what Rough House is real quickly.
Okay, so in a nutshell, it's a bunch of martial artists who live together in a house called the Rough House, and they go on various missions to help better the planet. So it's still pretty early in the story. I still like only up to chapter 6. I plan on this being a very long epic, so there's still a lot to happen. But in a nutshell, that would be what it's about. A bunch of martial artists like superheroes who go around kicking ass and helping people.
And they do kick a lot of ass, guys. If you want to check out the Rough House, you can go to our website, saturday-am.com/afternoonwebx, and you should see, if you see the showcase up, you should see that link available. If not, I'll make sure I've got it posted in the links. But yes, it's part of our Afternoon WebX line, free manga that updates every week. And Rough House, Jordan, is returning next Friday, right?
Yep, sure is.
And so it picks up. So tell people kind of like, without ruining the story for those who haven't read it, where did it kind of leave off, and where is it kind of picking up at?
Okay, so it left off in the middle of the first mission. Their first mission, as opposed to going off and helping people, which is what is going to be the trend, their first mission was to redeem themselves in a way, because they suffered a defeat at the hands of a rival dojo. And they were defeated and embarrassed when their rivals stole their most precious artifact, which is a statue called the Bronze Beetle. So right now what's happening is they're in the midst of retrieving, or attempting to retrieve, that artifact, the Bronze Beetle.
Okay. All right. So we've got some more pages of Rough House that'll be coming to everybody, and that'll be next Friday at 1 p.m. If you did not know, we have manga that updates as part of our WebX line on a daily basis. In fact, the only day that's not updating currently are Tuesdays, but every day, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 1 p.m. you can see brand new installments of these manga. It's a very unique way to do webcomic releases, and it makes it a lot easier for people to find them. And so again, we try to do things differently with Saturday AM than what a lot of our contemporaries do. And we'll talk more about the stuff we're doing shortly. But obviously, we're really excited about WebX. We have some big plans for WebX coming in 2015. But I will say this, if you didn't know, while you can check out WebX for free on our website, we do have a special 0 issue of Saturday AM coming for subscribers only, and that will feature some content from our WebX creators and a few other guests. So we hope you guys will check that out. If you're not a subscriber to Saturday AM, please do so. It's just $5 a year. That price may change next year, so if you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend you do. You'll start off with issue number 20, which is our last issue of 2014, aside from the 0 issue, that is. And it is over 100 pages. high-quality, high-res artwork. Features the final chapter of Apple Black for this first story arc, and it was very well reviewed, I must say. A lot of people really like that issue. It's jam-packed. It's got a couple of free music downloads. If you subscribe today for just $5, you will actually get that issue, and you'll get the special Zero issue coming out here before Christmas. So definitely check it out, and we will have some new content in there from our WebX guys. In fact, they're kind of taking over Saturday AM in that issue. So big plans for WebX in 2015, but we're really excited about the return of Jordan Cook. We'll have some more questions for Jordan here soon. If you have questions for Jordan or Leonardo or myself, you can do so amongst 3 different methods. You can access our Facebook fan page. Go to www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM/ and you can leave a message. Likewise, you can leave a message right here if you have Google Chrome or the Google browser. You can access the Q&A functionality in the Google Hangouts app. Not only can you view our chat this way, you can access it with that, and you can put a question to the Q&A. It'll pop up for everybody to see. Last but not least, you can use the group chat window that is available within the either Google Talk in your old Gmail account or the Google app. So please feel free to drop questions. These guys are extremely talented, and it's a great way to get more information about exactly how difficult it is to make webcomics. With that being said, let's move on to Mr. Massip. Now, Leo, for people who don't know, you got engaged with Saturday AM through our Pilot Manga group. And for people who don't know, Pilot Manga, we started this thing called Pilot Manga for 2 reasons. One, because it's very similar to something that's done in Japan as a means of being able to discover new talent. And we really liked that idea because we were getting inundated. We still get inundated with people who are like, hey, I want to work for you guys. And they'll just start giving us their ideas. And we're just not set up to deal with unsolicited ideas. So, that was something that we had to kind of shy away from. On the other hand, we have some really fantastic people, really talented people who approached us, and we thought, what's a good way that we could both celebrate their creativity, give them an opportunity to learn, and to fellowship with other webcomic creators or amateur creators. And so we created the Pilot Manga group. Now, that is a private group on our Facebook page, but it will be moving soon to our website, and we've been actually kind of working very hard on that, hence why we haven't been as active on the Pilot Manga page on Facebook, but we've got some really big plans for that. And so, as Leonardo will attest, it's a great group to kind of get in, meet other artists, and then we have contests every month called test flights, and that is where you actually can go and compete with your ideas. And it's not a competition like someone's a loser, someone's a winner. That's not the mentality to have, but it is an opportunity for you to kind of put your ideas out there and see how many people actually can get excited by your ideas, and that's essentially what the test flight does. And Leonardo came in second the month that he applied with a brilliant concept that was a little difficult to understand at first, but once we got a hold of Leonardo and discussed it, it's one of our most exciting, and I say this truthfully, one of our most exciting properties that we have that we're working currently on. Leonardo, please tell everybody what Islanders is all about.
Well, getting away from the old thing that I always say, Islanders are a group of people that find a kid, whatever. I will say that Islanders is a combination of a lot of cool stuff from Cuba and all the Caribbean. So if you're from the islands, if you're from the Caribbean, if you enjoy the beach, if you enjoy summer, you're gonna like it, because it's pretty much based on that. And if you're from the snow countries and all that, you're gonna like it too, because you're gonna you're gonna feel how we feel down here in Florida. So yeah, man, it's basically an adventure around the world, a world that is mostly water. So I can exploit a lot of the features that we have in here in the tropical places. So yeah, man, it's basically that's it. Like,
well, let's go a little further in discussing it. So who are the main characters of? Just give us the characters that we meet in the if people read issue 20 of Saturday AM, you will have been introduced to 4 characters. Can you give us a bit of insight on those four characters? There's Turbino, Coco, the Old Man, and Captain Bling. I'm sorry, well, Star Kid and then Captain Bling. Can you tell us a little bit about those guys?
Okay, we have. If you guys read it, if you don't, you better, because I put a lot on it. But yeah, basically, Turbino is this cranky, solitary person that he's trying to get away from his past, and he's trying to get away from people. But he's a really cranky person. He's always fighting, but he got a really great heart. He's a good person, but he got a lot of powers too. You're gonna find out pretty soon. He's a cool character to get involved with, and to identify yourself, because all my characters, they're all based in realities. There's no superhero with perfect lives and all that. This is more like Batman, Spider-Man stuff, that they're all messed up and they're still saving the world. Yeah, that kind of thing. We have the Old Man, which is a drunk old sailor with a really dark past that he's trying to save this kid, which name is Safiro, which is the kid from space that you guys see in the first chapter. He's basically, for now, all I can tell you, is from space, and he got a big red glass thing for hair. So that's what the thing you see in his head, and he got a lot of powers too. But he's this kind of cute, naive kid. And we have Coco, which is like the guy in the middle, the guy in between, the guy always trying to save the day, trying to be fine with everyone, trying to ease things up. We have Captain Bling, which is the wannabe pirate guy. He's an educated black pirate guy, who wants to be really bad, and he wants to so hard that he ends up being a pain in the behind. But yeah, he's a really cool character, and you're gonna learn a lot more about him in the future. But they all have their own personalities. They're all really deep personalities. They all have a lot of stuff going on in the labs, and it's pretty much based on that. And all the characters you guys are gonna see there, they're gonna have really, really interesting backstories, so you can feel identified or you can get into it. It's not gonna be shallow stuff. All it's gonna be really deep.
So the first installment of the pilot chapter for Islanders ran in the latest issue of Saturday AM, issue number 20. You can check that out right now by subscribing to Saturday AM for just $5. You'll get 20 issues, including this issue, and going into next year. So you really can't miss it. It's the best deal in comics. If you don't want to pay the $5, you just want to test it out, you can pay $1.99 for the issue by itself and get over 100 pages of content. Again, better than any comic deal that's out there currently. If this were Marvel or DC or Image, like Walking Dead, and you were buying something through Comixology, you're probably going to be paying the price that you would pay for a 30-page comic or less in the actual comic book store. You would be paying the exact same price. Walking Dead, for example, is $2.99 for a 30 to 35-page comic. And you pay the same price you pay in the comic book store for the digital copy. Now, all hats off to Robert Kirkman. He's created a phenomenal work of art. At the same time, though, it's like, surely the digital copy costs less to produce than the physical copy. With us, we produce a digital copy. It's $1.99. It's over 100 pages. It's got color elements in it. It's got interviews. It's got free music downloads. It's got everything, including work by up-and-coming talent like Leonardo and White Manga and others, for just $1.99. So your call, you choose. The future installments of this pilot chapter for Islanders will be for free. They'll be a part of Saturday Plus, which is our brand new manga anthology publication. It launches next Saturday, the 29th. You can't miss it. It'll be available for our subscribers first, and then will be made available to everyone else on our website. So please check that out. You're going to really like it. It's got some exciting new creators like Leonardo Massip, Justin Anision with Gray Zone, Frederick Ward Jr., who's created an awesome book called Comet Man, and then myself will be moving our manga, Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts, one of the very first manga, and why I created Saturday AM in the first place. That will be the anchor series that will always be in Saturday Plus, kind of give it some foundation as we bring new creators like Leonardo through the ranks. So again, check it out. It'll be free. It's going to be a brand new publication. We're really excited about it. We hope you guys will check it out. And once the new year starts and Saturday AM comes back, it'll run every other week from Saturday AM. So one Saturday will be Saturday AM, the next Saturday will be Saturday Plus, the Saturday after that will be Saturday, the next issue of Saturday AM, and so on. So it's really, really fun. You're going to get a full month of Saturday. You can't beat that. Not to mention, every day you can check out WebX. So with that being said, let's make sure you guys know you can leave questions. I see we've got quite a few viewers now in the room. So people came in a little bit later. We got started a little bit later. So we are going to take this for about another 20 minutes. So please feel free if you have questions for either Jordan Cook, the creator of the webcomic Rough House, or Leonardo Massip, the creator of the manga webcomic, the future manga webcomic that's just getting started called Islanders. If you want to ask these guys anything, you can feel free to do so via the Q&A app function in the Google Chrome and Google Chrome browser. You can likewise do so on our Facebook fan page, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM/. And feel free, or if you have even Google Mail, Gmail, and you're able to access this via the Gmail Hangout app, you can just go right into the text window and drop a question. So feel free to do so. We're going to talk a bit more. We got some stuff to talk about regarding pilot manga, the changes we have upcoming with pilot manga. We're also going to be making a big announcement about Apple Black and our Saturday Tanks, which is our brand new collected manga volumes in print. So we got some good things we'll be talking about later in this episode. But again, this is season 2. We have some big upcoming guests coming, so hope you check this out. It's available every Saturday at 9 p.m. live via Google Hangouts and on YouTube and on our website. And if you miss an episode, you can always check it out on our YouTube channel. We have a very small bit of videos on our YouTube channel, yet we have built up nearly 1,000 followers. We're really excited with our growth throughout the year. We've been around for over a year now, and for just a little over a year, and our growth is really amazing. So thank you guys so much for supporting us on all those efforts. Let's turn it back over to Jordan and ask Jordan, given how you grew up and given the stuff that you've seen, why webcomics? This is something fundamentally I think is interesting about the world of webcomics, is that certainly from the struggles that we have in terms of getting people to appreciate the work from amateur creators, getting people to pay, like for our subscriptions, for example, or pay the creators. Why did you choose webcomics versus producing your own comic book?
I guess ideally, the plan is to do both. The reason why I started my webcomic was because I wanted to get my work out there. I wanted people to see it. I wanted people to read the story that I have, and the best way I knew to go about doing it was to throw it up on the internet. I've been using websites like DeviantArt for a long time, but that still wasn't good enough for me. I just wanted to reach as many people as possible, and going online just seemed like the way to go. So I guess like I still would love to. I have already in the past printed prints of my book, and I intend to I kind of want that's how I grew up experiencing comics, was through print and having the physical book in my hand, and that's the experience that I want to give other people. So ideally I would like to down the line continue with that, and I feel like that's just a better way to experience a comic than clicking from page to page, although that's fine too. Or if I could put it on a tablet or something like that where you could just swipe to the next page, that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the reason was because it was a cheap cheap way to get it to as much people as possible.
Yeah, 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 no, I totally get it, and I think, that was a good long answer, Jordan. And at the end of the day, it's because it's cheap. No,
It actually wasn't that cheap, you know. It did cost money to like get domain space and all that.
absolutely. Well, look, I mean, absolutely, and this is something I talk about a lot, and I can't wait for us to get big enough to where we've done a panel once. I'd love to do a panel. We recently attended AC Comic Con, and I was watching a panel. I just was like pulling my hair out because I'm thinking, like, my God, these guys are not talking about anything real. Like I'd love to get up there and just have a real conversation because it's just content in this day and age is really interesting, and we're moving towards an interesting place. It's why I started the company in the first place. I do very much believe in the future of digital, but I do understand the nostalgia factor of print, and that's why we're doing our Saturday tanks. And by the way, we certainly intend to do one with Rough House, and so we have plans for that. Hopefully, assuming everything with tanks goes well and Jordan is liking the direction we're going with it. But the reason I wanted to ask about the webcomics is that you have a certain fan following. I mean, I know every time we post some stuff, we get like for example on Twitter, there are some Twitter like I'm thinking of the Ford guys, Jason Ford and
Right.
who really like your work. What like have there been any webcomics? Are there webcomics that you yourself are inspired by or follow?
I mean, besides like, to tell you the truth, not really. Like, besides like like Spoon and like stuff stuff that we're directly related to. I mean, not really. Like I can't really I mean, I used to go to like Penny Arcade a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be a few webcomics that I would check out, but it was just for fun, just to like have something cool to read real quick. I wouldn't say that it had that big of an impact on me as far as like. I mean, I guess, okay, I saw webcomic websites and I was like, okay, I want to do something like that. Like, I want to put my work out there in the manner that, say, Penny Arcade puts their work out there.
Mm-hmm.
But, it would be hard to name, like, a webcomic that impacted me the way, say, Dragon Ball or One Piece or X-Men or something like that impacted me. Yeah, like I can't really think of one. I mean, I love comics, all kinds of comics, webcomics included.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that part of me. Like if I were to come across one tomorrow, maybe it would be my new favorite thing. But as far as like just being like bam, like this webcomic inspired me, I don't think I could do it.
So the answer is Afternoon WebEx. That's a great answer, Jordan.
Right.
Leonardo, what about you? Because I do find this question interesting. That's why I ask it. As I said, I was just at NC Comic Con last weekend, which is our local comic convention in North Carolina. It's not a big one because we have a big one that's historic called Heroes Con, or Heroes Aren't Hard to Find convention. But NC Comic Con is new. It's starting to get a hip little vibe to it. It's from my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. I went to that. I saw some interesting things that, from my perspective, as a longtime comics reader, as someone running a business in the comics world, it was fascinating to me. But like you, Leonardo, like you're someone like Jordan is firmly from the kind of American sensibility of things. You though coming at all this fresh, what is your read on webcomics? Like did you get into webcomics through Saturday AM or through the Manga group, or had you been a fan of it before? Do you follow webcomics now? Like, what's your relationship with webcomics?
Actually, when I started here, because I had no experience whatsoever with webcomics or even where to go and read webcomics.
Right.
I'm not a big reader. I don't lie about it. I'm not a big, I only go to a specific, and I strongly support the new artists. So I'd rather read, whatever guy doing his new comic that reads Spider-Man. I don't know. That's how I am, because I know they're gonna bring something interesting to the table.
And where do you find that new comic at, though? Do you find it like at comic conventions? Do you find it in the comic book store, webcomic? Like where do you expose these things?
Well, I will say Saturday AM, but there's a lot of more places that you can go.
Yeah.
Facebook and all this. But basically, I knew this world. I got into this world through Saturday AM because all the friends I have now that they do comics and they do art, I met all of them in here. Before I had nobody. I had no idea what a web comic was or how to do comics, and actually even getting to that business was even impossible. I was like, hell no, I cannot compete, man. Like, and this was a really like a door to that world, but not really. It's like Jordan saying that my main inspiration was watching anime. It was not reading comics, and like he said before, the idea of doing web comics is to get to the print because I rather read a print even though it's more expensive. I feel more comfortable. I feel more into the story when I have the book in my hands. Even though I don't read though, I'm a very lazy reader.
Mhm.
I'm more like a anime movie guy, but yes, definitely it was a good inspiration, and I'll read, and let me say something out of context real
Yeah.
quick. If Jordan is a creator from Manga, I love that stuff, man. It's a great
Wait,
comic.
say that again.
Is this Jordan guy is the creator for the manga comic you have on WebX?
He's the creator for Rough House.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rough House. Okay, because I'm new into that, but I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
yeah. Rough House is great. It's great. I won't go into trying to uh, talk about it more because we talked about it a lot. But Rough House is really good. We are just way past excited that Jordan is back. It was one of my favorite manga when we got started. So really excited it's back. So
Yep.
on this question of webcomics and on this question of kind of your relationships respectively to the world of webcomics, I guess another question I want to ask is so you know given where things are today, right? I mean, Jordan, you indicated that it's very expensive to produce a book, and this is something again I say to creators all the time is the old school way of creating a comic book would be that you put your money up front, right? You take money, you would pay a printer to print your comic out. There was no Amazon, there was no Facebook or DeviantArt. You had to pay a printer to print your comic. You had to draw the comic, pay a printer to print it. That might be $600, $1,200, $2,000. You'd have the copies in your trunk. You then would have to go to comic stores yourself to give them out, pay money to go to a convention to hopefully get people to buy them there, and all of this in an effort to try to get people to follow you, to be a fan of what you're doing. Nowadays, it's a lot easier thanks to the power of the web and ergo webcomics. What is the goal for Rough House, Jordan? What is the goal for that? Do you envision toys, video games? What's the goal for Rough House?
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, I want to take it as far as I possibly can. I mean, I took a long break and I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do, and the answer is I want to continue to do what I do and to reach as many people as possible and to grow as much as possible. The reason why I created Rough House in the first place is because I wanted to. I had a video game in mind. I wanted to. I love video games like Street Fighter, Tekken, fighting games, and I was like, you know what? Like I was playing Street Fighter and stuff like that. I was like, I would love to be the driving force, the driving creative force behind a project like this. And since I don't know how to make video games, I was like, you know what? I'll do what I do know how to do, and that's make stories and characters and a comic. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the backstory for what would be a fighting game, and that's basically what Rough House, what started Rough House. So if one day, I don't know how, but if one day I could achieve that goal, it would really make things come full circle because that's why I created these characters and what I had in mind. That said, I love, like I said, I love all kinds of comics and anime and stuff like that. I would love for there to be a Rough House anime or a Rough House toy or a Roughhouse, you know, T-shirt, or I would love for all that, of course. Um,
Like,
so
of course, why not? Right.
so basically, all I can do is, you know, do my thing and keep drawing and hope that, you know, I just keep growing and hope that people, you know, keep discovering me and liking what I do, and you know, we'll see what the future brings. You know, like all I can do is what I'm good at, and yeah, so you know, fingers crossed. Hopefully, there's good things to come.
Absolutely. And what about you, Leonardo? Like, what is the end game, or not per se the end game, but like, what are the sort of things that you're hoping you could produce with Islanders? I mean, you're just getting started, of course. But like, what are some of the things you're hoping you can go with that?
Well, mainly it's gonna be anime, a movie, a TV show, and I know it is going to happen. I don't know if I gotta do it myself or if I have to draw like crazy, but that's how I visualize my comic, my idea, and of course, like he said, video games, toys, and all that goodies, but mainly anime. Like that's actually how I draw. I visualize my pages as an anime, as a full shot, as an animation, cartoons movie, and that's how I do my thumbnails. That's how I do my pages. So
Okay, so both, you know, so everybody's got ambition. I think we all have ambition. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I certainly, you know, want to achieve it all, you know, for what I'm trying to do with Saturday AM, and you know, the objective I have is that everybody's series will have that sort of power to it. So, you know, looking at where things are currently, you know, obviously you guys have come back. You started in your case, Leonardo. You've come back in your case, Jordan. So looking at where we are today and where things are going, you know, in 2015, Jordan, you know, can you tease some of the big things? Or let's just say, period, in terms of the return of Roughhouse. What are some of the big things that people can look out for the next you know, couple of months of Roughhouse? Like, what's some of the big stories that's going to start happening, or something you think is going to be fun for people to check out?
Well, the first mission is going to reach its climax,
Okay.
so that's exciting. The second mission, which will be the first, like the first mission where they actually, you know, seek to like actually help a group of people. That's gonna be coming next, so that's also something I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna bring back characters that I've introduced that we haven't seen very much of. I'm going to introduce brand new characters. The Rough House will always keep growing and expanding, and yeah, I mean, it's gonna be great. There's gonna be, let's see, there's going to be some sci-fi. There's going to be some like pro wrestling references. There's gonna be a lot of cool martial arts, obviously, and big fights. That's why it's called Rough House, because fights are the driving point. So
That's a good thing. That's always I mean, good thing in a sense, like as I said, I think something you guys talked about earlier is one of the reasons why I started Saturday AM is that, you know, if you get into webcomics, and like I said, I'm a believer of webcomics. I think it's the future. I don't see the dichotomy with webcomics, but I think the challenge with it is that, you know, the vast majority of comics in America and in Japan are, you know, action based, and you know, for that to take hold, you have to basically, you know, have good action content, and the web is so big and so unruly at times that those things aren't always immediately noticeable, which ones are the kind of straightforward, fun, action sort of storylines. And so that's why we started Saturday AM and WebEx and stuff, and Rough House, I think, is the perfect example of that. Leonardo, let me take that question to you, and then I want to turn it over just a bit before we close out with some news about Saturday AM. What can you tell us a bit about Islanders, and technically, on the technical side, what are some of the things with Islanders, and I'm sorry, not technical, we'll get to technical in a minute, but like, what can you tease out what's going to happen in the first story arc with Islanders? Like, what can we expect to see?
Well, you're expecting to see pretty much a little bit of everything. You're
Mhm.
gonna because the first chapter is basically just the introduction of the characters and how the story is gonna be developed. But now in the future, in the actually the really close one, you're gonna start seeing a lot of action, more comedy, and a lot of weird stuff like like you never seen before. You're gonna be like, what? Really? Yeah. So yeah,
I
basically,
can,
but
I
it's
can,
gonna be fun.
gentlemen, he's not making that up.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that I would echo that with both series. Although certainly working with you both, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, one of the things I like about Islanders is that it does have a very One Piece vibe to it. It is, Leonardo, your ideas are so different and your artwork is so fun that it just has a fun, kind of puts a smile on your face. It's different. It's really different. And I like, to me, what makes this particular episode great is that you two are very similar in a lot of ways. Your art styles are not per se similar, but it is similar. Your sensibilities are very similar. So I really can't wait for people to check out Rough House and check out Islanders. Before we go, I want to have just want to ask you guys a couple quick technical questions, just like really short, kind of speed round of questions, and then I want to leave people with some information about Saturday AM, and then we'll call it a night. But so real quickly, then, just real quick technical answers, not long answers, just really quick technical answers. I'm just going to run through a number of these questions. Just give me the quick answer, so that people kind of have a sense of your abilities and what you guys do. Number one, Leonardo, you first. What tools do you use for Islanders? Are you traditional pencil and ink creator, or do you use more digital tools?
I do everything digital.
Everything digital. In fact, I've seen you work on an iPad before, right?
Yes, yes. That's just for the just I use iPad just to draw when I'm lazy and I don't want to get out of bed.
Okay.
And I do only images. I don't do any paneling. I don't do comics in there. Period.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, iPad is a cool technology both for reading us as well as checking stuff out. That question for you, Jordan: do you use pencil and ink, or are you digital?
I do pencil and ink. I have plans on starting to use more digital for toning and things like that. But for now, I'm pencil and ink.
So you pencil and ink, and then you scan it in, and that's your work.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So in terms of lettering, how do you guys handle your lettering? Now, Leonardo, you're forbidden from this question because I know how you handle your lettering. But and the readers, if they've seen me before, they know how your lettering gets done. Jordan, how do you handle your lettering? So you're hand drawing that as well. You're not using any tools.
No, actually, I created my own font, and I use that. I go into Photoshop and I letter in Photoshop. So that is something that I do digitally is letter.
You manipulate your artwork via Photoshop.
Well, not the artwork yet. I do have, but lettering for sure.
Got it. Okay. And Leonardo, I know you use Photoshop as well. Do you use Photoshop or Manga Studio?
No, I use Manga Studio. Photoshop sucks.
Got it. Okay. All right. Okay. So from the standpoint of your work, so Jordan, start with you. How many pages can you produce in a day?
Usually if I do one page from beginning to end, as in like pencils and inks,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good day. That's a good day.
Ink and lettering, you could do it in a day, like just soup to nuts.
Right.
Okay.
So, typically, like, I haven't done 2 pages in one day in a really long time. I think like 1 page per day, because that's like, I don't know, maybe 6 hours of work right there. That's kind of what I aim for, is a page a day.
Okay. What about you, Leonardo? How quickly can you work?
I usually work only like 6 hours a day because
Mhm.
I got my regular job and I got kids and wifey and all that.
Yep.
I usually work in a full day. I can do 3 pages, but since I don't work the full day, probably just 1 page and a half.
Okay. All right. And so, stay with you, Leonardo? Do you work on your script element before you draw, and then do you do, breakdowns like thumbnails and stuff? Do you basically plot, do breakdowns and such before you actually start penciling the page?
Yes. I work the story first. I do to a certain point, and then I start with my thumbnails. I dedicate a whole day just to do thumbnails, and then all I do is just sketch the page, ink, do one full page. Now, what I'm trying to do is I do the same to the point of the thumbnails. Then I try to sketch all the pages, let's say from 1 to 10, and then I ink and finish one and then the other. But I try to do all the sketches at once, like all the pages.
Okay. And so you as well, Jordan. How do you normally sketch out your stuff?
Yeah, I do a script first. I write everything out, like a dialogue, and like scenes and stuff like that. And then I start doing the thumbnail for the page, and I just develop the page from there. So I'll do thumbnails, and then I'll just get more detailed, and then I'll get even more detailed, and then I'll go to the inks.
Okay. All right. So Jen, just staying with the very kind of rapid fire questions. Number one, DC or Marvel?
DC all the way, man.
Jordan?
I like Marvel, but DC is deeper. It's like darker.
Hard to choose. I think I have to go Marvel, actually, just based on my own inspirations. Like, I love X-Men and Spider-Man, and those are Marvel characters.
Yep. Okay. All right. And so, which is going to be the bigger movie of? Which is going to be the bigger movie? Batman v Superman or Avengers? Age of Ultron.
Avengers.
Yeah, I think I'm looking more forward towards to Avengers personally.
Okay, all right. Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, Leonardo.
Oh man, you kill me there, bro. Wow. Well, I don't know. I don't even get an answer. I'm sorry. I can't.
The answer. Just give me an answer, yes or no. I mean, which one?
Both, man. I cannot give you one because I love both.
That's a lame answer. Jordan?
Street Fighter all the way.
Street Fighter all the way. That is the correct answer.
Yeah, right. Right. And he'll be playing Mortal Kombat all night. Yeah, right.
And on that front, PS4 or Xbox One?
Oh, Xbox, man. I'm sorry.
PS4 for me.
Guess what? Look at you guys. You guys are not,
man.
You guys are not in sync at all. So Apple's announcement that they're coming out with the Apple Watch. Do you see that as future opportunity for your material or not? Like, I mean, you look at things like the iPad and so forth. Obviously, Jordan, you mentioned it. I know you, of course, work on your iPad. So Apple Watch, do you guys see an opportunity for that for your comics?
I think it's too small. I mean, maybe for like other aspects, like I don't know what, but I don't know if the comic. I think it's probably too small to truly appreciate a comic book page.
Okay, what about you, Leonardo? What do you think?
Well, I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry. If you
that is an awesome way to dodge the question. Like, I don't know what the hell you just said.
No, I'm serious. I don't even know what you guys talking about. What is that exactly?
It's Apple's coming out with a new watch. It's gonna be like a computerized watch that can like do all these different. It's gonna have apps and so forth. But let me just say that I most certainly we have plans for Apple Watch. We would love to do something with Apple Watch. We have some ideas that we hopefully can make happen. So, anyways, that's gonna pretty much be it for the Q&A. I want to thank Jordan and Leonardo, and again to remind everybody, these are two incredible amateur webcomic creators, people that we are infinitely excited about, just as people as well as talent levels. Very decent, honest people with incredible talent. Jordan Cook, of course, again, was one of the founding creators, one of the first creators that we brought in for Afternoon WebX, our webcomic-specific line. We have very big plans for that. These are free comics that you can read, full of really good content, and most of them have lots of chapters you can check out. So you could easily spend an entire weekend running through Storybook or Spoon, Wanted Dead or Dead, Shapeshifters, or Rough House, which is Jordan's comic. That will return to normal weekly serialization. So every Friday at 1 p.m. you will be able to get the latest installment of Rough House. We have big plans for Afternoon WebX, the webcomic line, in 2015, including ways that you can support the creators directly. So again, as Leonardo said earlier, one of the things that matters to us significantly And the reason I'm doing this is that I want to bring more voices of color, more voices of different perspectives, more voices from different genders and even sexual orientations, just more voices, period, to the conversation of comic books. And these two gentlemen represent that significantly. So in the context of Jordan, his work is free. It's going to be free on our webcomic line. We do hope that through the things we have planned for Rough House in 2015, including merchandising and, again, ways you can support Jordan directly, we hope that you will come out and support his work. You can check out the first 5 chapters right now for free. It is raw. It is fantastic. It's fun. It's something you can easily have your young member in your family look at. This is really quality stuff. I hope you guys check it out. In the context of Leonardo Massip, our other creator who graced our presence tonight, Leo is just a dynamo. He's significantly one of those people that is going to blow up, in the future. We have been impressed with him ever since we first saw his work during our pilot manga competition, and he came in second. Leonardo has just a tremendous imagination, and by having his Cuban background, he's got a very important voice that we think needs to be heard. So we are extremely excited at the idea of Islanders. Right now we're doing this pilot chapter, but hopefully if you guys take to it, and we certainly have taken to it, then we'll be making this a regular series you'll find within Saturday AM. It will be made free for the first chapter, so again, check it out, make your voices heard. If you want to support Leonardo, please talk about how greatly you like the series. It'll be part of a new manga anthology we have coming out called Saturday Plus. You can find out more about that on our website if you go to www.saturday-am.com. Look for Plus, and you will find more information about Saturday Plus. Islanders will be serialized there, and then we'll see what happens in 2015. But check out this work and check out Saturday Plus. It's free, so you can't miss it. It comes out every 2 weeks starting next Saturday. Last but not least, Saturday AM. I started this, as you saw in the talk tonight, because I wanted to bring more voices to the table. In a year, we have generated incredible fan support. We have some of the top webcomic creators in the world. White Manga, a Nigerian, who's got one of the hottest webcomics on the planet with Apple Black. We have him exclusive. In fact, he's a partner with Saturday AM. Furthermore, we have Andrea Voros, who's also very damn popular, a young woman from Hungary with her book Saigami. She is infinitely popular. She's, in my opinion, kind of like a Rumiko Takahashi. Her artwork is luscious. It's very, very attractive. And she is telling a fantastic story in Saigami. We have big plans for not just those two creators, but for Wally Wynn, the designer of many of the stuff you see with the Saturday AM, Raymond Brown, the creator of Bully Eater, and Mikhail Dingle, and several other creators who make up Saturday AM. If you want to support independent comic creators, pay $5. You get a subscription to Saturday AM, and you get 20 issues guaranteed for the entire year. That is the best deal in comic. Each issue is jam-packed with interviews and content, original comics that you can't get anywhere else, and you pay for those contents just $5 a year or $1.99 an issue. We also offer season packs. If you miss issues that when you start your subscription, if you missed some issues before that, you can buy the season pack collection, which have 5 issues at a time. Typically, those are priced well under the $10 that you normally pay for those issues. You simply cannot beat that deal. No one else is offering the level of quality and content that we offer on a regular basis, including WebEx, Saturday Plus, and Saturday AM. Just nobody's offering that type of concentrated talent that you can find with what we do. I'm damn proud of all of our creators, including these two men, and I hope that the fan base that we're building and generating, I hope you guys are there, because we're doing a revolution. We're changing the game. We're changing the way things are done. And when you see a Saturday AM movie one day in the future, you remember it started right here. So I hope you guys come out and support the stuff that we're doing. Again, we have big plans next year. And in fact, one of the big things that we've announced that will be happening this year is the debut of Saturday Tanks. 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 These are collected versions of our stories. So the very first Saturday Tank will be Apple Black, one of our most popular manga. You'll be able to get that book either in print or in digital format. The print version will run you $12.99. The digital version will run you $9.99, and we are offering a pre-sale campaign that will begin shortly before midnight tonight. You don't have to put any money down, and you'll get a free season pack if you register for the pre-sale program. Say, hey, I want to buy this. I'm going to buy it when it comes out. And if you do so within the time frame, you'll be given a free code to get any previous Saturday AM season pack valued at $5 or above. You can't beat that deal. So hopefully you guys who want to support White Manga and support that will jump in on that pre-sale program immediately as soon as it's available tonight and show your support for our creators. And remember, if the Tanks line takes off strongly with Saturday AM with Apple Black, then we're going to be doing Saigami in February. We have plans to do Spoon from Afternoon WebX in April alongside the Bully Eater. And beyond that, hopefully we'll be doing Storybook and One Dead or Dead and Rough House and One Day Islanders and several other properties. So please support independent comic creators, support manga webcomic creators, support Saturday AM. Thank you guys for checking us out tonight. Next week will be the Saturday Q&A, and it will feature at 9 p.m. and it will feature some of our creators from our brand new manga anthology called Saturday Plus. So you'll have a chance to talk to some of our creators like Frederick Ward and Desmond Thompson, and I think we may have Leo back on there shortly for that, but certainly it'll have Justin and Mission once again, and we'll have a good conversation about the plans we have in place for Saturday Plus. So please check it out, and again, you can check this episode out on our YouTube channel. Thanks everybody for supporting us, and we will talk to you guys very soon.